My name is Tony Farley, and the following videos are a summary of some of the work I have done in my Boise State Educational Technology Master's Program, and how that work demonstrates mastery of the 5 AECT standards of content knowledge, content pedagogy, learning environments, and research. For AECT Standard 1, Content Knowledge, candidates demonstrate the knowledge necessary to create, use, assess, and manage theoretical and practical applications of educational technologies and processes. Throughout my time at Boise State, I have constantly pushed the boundaries of my knowledge and abilities to create, use, assess, and manage applications of educational technologies and processes. Some examples of this are building educational websites, such as my blog, tonyfarley.net, where my portfolio is hosted. My school website, slamonline.net, and my EdTech 502 portfolio site that has pages on netiquette, copyright, a web quest, and a virtual field trip. Most recently, for my advanced online teaching course, I created a social media forum for my Multimedia Academy. And I built an educational observatory tour in Second Life. Through expanding my content knowledge at Boise State, my teaching as well as my book publishing has evolved into a much more blended approach, using face-to-face and text-based learning along with numerous online methods of teaching, such as websites, forums, social media, games, and virtual reality. I am now comfortable both creating educational experiences in these realms as well as teaching in them. AECT Standard 2 Content Pedagogy candidates develop as reflective practitioners able to demonstrate effective implementation of educational technologies and processes based on contemporary content and pedagogy. My teaching and publishing pedagogy has changed a lot since starting my EdTech degree at Boise State. I've always considered my teaching to be constructivist, but my exposure to Seymour Papert's constructionism through a research paper in my Theoretical Foundations course changed how I thought about the reasons for my teaching, as well as the definition of student achievement. Knowledge and work is made real when it is made into a public entity. I am writing a book right now on training to race your first triathlon, and many of the activities include a public post, a tweet, or a journal entry as motivation and documentation of progress. Major projects my students complete, such as the Fast for Nonviolence, now require a publicly viewable website along with video, graphics, presentations to classrooms, and reflection similar to what I do in my EdTech program. Creating a public entity makes student work authentic and important. Even a small daily assignment can be constructionist, such as the student creating a blog post, a tweet that summarizes what they learned, or sharing with others through non-technological means, such as speaking to the class or showing another student what they learned. All of these are much more meaningful and authentic than turning in a worksheet that comes back with a number or a letter on top. And if it can't be shared in some way, then I bet it's not that important. Even before learning about constructionism, I valued the public exhibition of projects and skills. In my science classes, I always had my students create blogs and websites where projects, lab reports, and reflections were posted about what they learned and what they found interesting. I felt the skills of building web pages and blogging were valuable skills, even back when I started teaching in the late 90s. But Papert's influence turned the public entity my students were constructing from a useful and often tedious exercise to the central reason for the activity or projects. We do science now, art, and writing to change ourselves and the world through publishing. I am a creator of instruction. I create instructional materials, lessons, videos, and learning environments. AECT Standard 3, Learning Environments, states that candidates should facilitate learning by creating, using, evaluating, and managing effective learning environments. I designed, modeled, and textured an observatory in Second Life. Inside the observatory were panels with an astronomical phenomenon on them. When the images were touched, the user was brought to a web page with information and questions to guide learning. I brought my whole EdTech teaching and learning in virtual worlds class into my observatory in Second Life for an astronomy lesson. I also publish interactive physics textbooks such as the electric force, gravity, and motion. I am currently working on a triathlon training book called Couch Potato to Triathlete. My educational technology studies have improved everything from the graphics I create for my books, where I've moved from mostly decorative graphics to graphics that inform or help the learner to visualize or understand difficult concepts. In the future, I will build entire internet worlds and social media sites, create online experiences that enhance learning through multimedia, simulations, blogs, and community building. This demonstrates the standards of learning by creating, using, evaluating, and managing effective learning environments, by creating instructional materials and learning environments in a very innovative manner that I hope to continue in my teaching and instructional design. AECT Standard 4, Professional Knowledge and Skills. Candidates design, develop, implement, and evaluate technology-rich learning environments within a supportive community of practice. In my Fast for Nonviolence topic choice activity, I collaborated with the other teachers in the San Leandro Academy for Multimedia to create and deliver the kickoff event for our Fast for Nonviolence project. We had an assembly of our entire academy in our school theater, with the speakers discussing the importance of fasting, nonviolent struggle, and the history of our Fast for Nonviolence. After the speaker, the teachers facilitated students in brainstorming and discussing possible topics for their project. After the kickoff event, the students created groups in an online forum and planned their projects using the forum. The Fast for Nonviolence topic choice activity shows an analysis of the learners, the context of the skills to be learned in the activity, and the instructional goals of the activity. It also discusses the learning goals, objectives, and standards addressed in the activity, along with the media needed and support for learners with special needs. The practice of analyzing learners, determining learning goals and objectives, and standards addressed when planning activities such as this has informed both my teaching as well as my book publishing efforts. It has also changed our academy in ways that make our media more meaningful and both literature and research-based. These steps lay the foundation for organization of activities as well as the solid professional grounding in research. Creating the technological infrastructure to support both the community of practice and the technology-rich learning environment is something I am also adding to my textbooks to support teachers and students. AECT Standard 5, Research. Candidates explore, evaluate, synthesize, and apply methods of inquiry to enhance learning and improve performance. My artifact, the personalization principle, along with the attached video, the California Earthquake Trail in Point Reyes, California, is an example of AECT Standard 5 research, which states that candidates should explore, evaluate, synthesize, and apply methods of inquiry to enhance learning and improve performance. In the linked video, I take the viewer on a tour of the Earthquake Trail in Point Reyes, California. Along the way, I stop at a few kiosks and explain the geology one can learn there. I then visit a place where the ground moved 16 feet during the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, breaking a fence that crossed the San Andreas Fault. The personalization principle states that using a conversational style rather than a formal style of communication is better for learning and understanding. I created this learning experience by starting with this research principle. The entire trip out to the Earthquake Trail, along with the creation of the graphics, the voiceover, and the editing, required exploration of online information, evaluation of principles and their applications to the creation of the video, synthesis of geologic knowledge and processes, and the application of methods of inquiry shown in the video that enhance learning and improve performance. Learning the research behind educational technology has changed the way I teach and the educational products I create. My graphics are no longer always decorative. I used to create exercises that checked for understanding, or even just checked if the reading was done. I used to think like a teacher, that after reading, the kids need to answer questions based on the reading. What else was there to do? Now I think in projects. After reading a section of one of my books, the learner needs to create something, to do something, or share something, to bring their knowledge into the world. My students create projects. Some are little one-day projects, and some are month-long projects. My teaching always results in something being created and shared. I now set aside class time for sharing projects, commenting on projects, and for posting to portfolios. My students can look back at a body of work and growth throughout my class and know that they have learned something real in their time with me. This has all come about from research done in my courses at Boise State. These and many other examples of AECT standards and educational technology work I've done in my master's program at Boise State can be found on my online portfolio site at www.tonyfarley.net. Please take a look. Thank you.